Alright, 3 audience members. This guy, and me. Okay.
An important rite of passage for American teenagers is receiving their driver's license. For most, this is their first big step into the adult world. Unfortunately, for many, it's also their last. According to the Institute for Highway Safety, auto accidents are the #1 cause of death among teenagers. This is more than cancer, more than other accidents or drug overdoses or suicides, and yet the public remains oddly silent on this issue. It's as if we've decided that it's inevitable that our children will die on the roadways. But why? Teen drivers are the most likely drivers to die in an auto accident. But why? Let's examine some new studies concerning the brain development of teenagers and how that may lead to some of the problems. We also need to look at the very important role of parents and the need for new laws concerning teen drivers. We all know that teenagers are fun-loving and full of life. And we also know that they're moody and temperamental. It's just part of maturing, part of growing up from a child to an adult. However, when it comes to driving, a recent study by the National Institutes of Health suggests that the region of the brain that inhibits risky behavior is not developed until the age of 25. What this suggests is that those 16 to 17-year-old drivers at the most risk for fatality crashes actually lack the ability to discern whether their actions will produce the desired consequences. So that 16-year-old driver who's trying to decide if it's safe for her to pull out in traffic, her brain development may actually prohibit her from being able to make the safe decision. Our brains receive input from multiple sources, and as adults, we're able to sort through and not act on each impulse. Oftentimes, teenagers don't possess the ability to do this, and in a driving situation, this allows them to not be able to determine if a situation is risky or not. As parents, we would not allow our toddler to walk across the road without us because we know that they are simply not capable of doing it safely. In light of this new evidence, should we be allowing our teenagers to drive at such an early age alone? Speaking of parents, parental involvement is crucial to producing teen drivers who have the potential to grow up to be adult drivers. In a special report in an article in Reader's Digest concerning the dangers of teen driving, Joseph Vetter reports that now only 20% of public schools provide driver's education in their classrooms. Compare that with 90% in 1980, and you have to ask the question, who is teaching these children to drive? It falls to the parents. Parents must be willing to put out the time and the money it takes to make sure that their teenager is learning to drive and to drive well. They need to put out the money to make sure that they enroll their children in accredited, good driver's education schools. Or if they don't want to do that, we also have the option now of companies like AAA that provide curriculum for parents to teach their own children, which is a great idea. Parents need to know that their children can handle the vehicle, that they know the rules of the road, and that they are mature enough to handle the situations before we put them in the equivalent of a 2,000-pound weapon and send them off down the road. We all know that the risk is not only to our child, but to everyone that's on the road with them. Beyond thinking about just their physical risk, we also need to think about their emotional risk as well. Consider the impact on a 16-year-old of having to live with the consequence that their actions, that their choices, cause the death of another human being. But parents can gain some great support in the battle to help their children to become safe drivers in pushing for stricter state laws. New Jersey has one of the lowest fatality rates for teenagers in the country, and New Jersey strictly bars 16-year-old drivers from getting unrestricted license. Another proven strategy, according to Alan Williams from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is to limit the number of peers allowed in the car. If you have a teen driver that has one male teen passenger, the risk of a fatality crash doubles. If you put two male teen passengers in with a teen driver, the risk more than doubles. Most states have laws that provide for restricted licenses, but the problem is that parents and police don't enforce the laws. Other countries seem to be a little bit ahead of the United States in this. In Great Britain, children can't receive their license until they're 17. In Germany and Canada, the age is 18. So what do these countries know that the United States doesn't? We can change the laws, but we cannot change the laws until the public determines that it is unacceptable for more than 5,000 American teenagers to die on the roads every year. The laws simply need to change. There are so many exciting events in a teenager's life. And for many of them, getting their driver's license is the first biggie. But as adults, we know that there are many more wonderful events headed their way. They're going to graduate from high school, they're going to get married, and they're going to have children of their own. But unfortunately, for over 5,000 American teenagers, they never get to make that second step. In light of new evidence concerning the brain development of teenagers, parents and lawmakers need to aggressively rethink the age that we let our young children out on the roads alone.